this week's headliner topic, and this is concerning a band that is dear to both Dave and I. I think we can both pledge allegiance to Aerosmith. Will they ever tour again? Aerosmith guitarist Brad Whitford did an interview with Joe Bonamassa, another great guitar player, and he said he didn't know if the band would ever perform again. Their European tour that they had booked and is now rescheduled for 2022, and their Las Vegas residency got cut short because of COVID-19, as did everything else. And he doesn't know if they're too old to hit the road again. And when I read this news, Dave, I was kind of bummed because Aerosmith, for me, Oasis is always considered for me kind of be the genesis of my love of rock and roll music. But Aerosmith was really the first band that I loved in the 90s, and especially in the early to mid 90s. Big Ones was the first album I ever bought on CD. The first concert I ever went to was Aerosmith at Copps Coliseum here in Hamilton in 1998. They're the first band that I ever really, really loved. And I'm thinking that they maybe should pack it in at this point. If they can't really bring the goods to the stage, especially when they have to do something like a Las Vegas residency, which seems to me to be kind of a long-term thing that might not be able to sustain itself. They have that, but then they also haven't really been in the studio either. It's been 10 years since the release of their last album, Music from Another Dimension, which I thought was a great record. I thought that was a solid final studio effort, if that's what it is. But then even on that record, when you listen to it, you can tell that Steven Tyler's voice is not quite what it is. Steven Tyler, to me, it might be the best vocalist of all time. Your mileage may vary depending on who you love as a vocalist, but just in terms of pure vocal ability, of being able to reach those notes and just sing the way he can, Steven Tyler is up there for me. But I don't know if these guys, have what it takes still. Do you think that Aerosmith still has what it takes to keep going?
Well, first off, that I'm a huge Aerosmith fan. That's something that we have bonded over the years, making music together and stuff. We're a huge fan of that band, especially the late 80s, early 90s. Into the mid 90s, that whole up until Nine Lives pretty much is
Nine Lives
is our section of Aerosmith, and they're definitely one of the top. We talk about this all the time, American bands, what bands from America from the 70s and the 80s are our top five, and they're definitely, if not number one or number two, they're definitely my top five. I've been lucky enough to see them. You've been lucky enough to see them, but they got issues in that band. They got issues with Joey Kramer. They have issues with Steven Tyler. They have issues with Joe Perry. Joe Perry wants to be a vampire and hang out with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to pick up Steven Tyler when he falls off stages. That's pretty much what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that them and Joey Kramer can't get along right now, it doesn't look good for Aerosmith. I love them, and I wish they would, but maybe it is time, they haven't, like you said, they haven't been in the studio for a while. They definitely have less time in front of them than they do behind them. So
yeah,
maybe it's time to call it a day, go out on a high note. You went out with a residency in Vegas and having fun and doing all that jazz, but maybe, I don't know. Do you even want to see Aerosmith without Joey Kramer?
Not really. Yeah, they were locking him out of rehearsals because they thought that he wasn't up to task to play drums for them. So that was, I think, a year or two ago that was happening. They were locking him out of rehearsals, and then they figured that whole thing out. I don't know. At this point, it doesn't really seem like it's worth carrying on because these guys are getting older. Not to say that they still can't put on a great show, because I'm sure that they can, but a lot of bands don't really get to put an exclamation point on their career and end it on their own terms. And as far as, in terms of classic rock bands that are still going strong in 2021, I think the Stones would be the only other band that would be comparable to Aerosmith. There might be some other ones, but you think about it, Aerosmith still has all five of its original members, which is absolutely insane to think about at their age, this long into their career. It's 2021. These guys have been around for 50 years and they're still going strong. The five original members of Aerosmith are still in the band. So let's end it on a high note. I don't know if that means doing a final show. Maybe they do have rescheduled dates for the European tour and for the Las Vegas residency. I don't know if that means going back and just doing a limited run of shows just to give everybody some nostalgia trips before they call it a day. But I don't know, man. I think they've run out of gas. It seems to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to handle it. You say that about them, like the longevity of that band staying together and stuff. And it's funny, like we were just talking about like our top 5 American bands, and mine, almost all of them have stayed together the entire time, like pretty close. Like the other one of the other bands on my list would be ZZ Top,
right?
And the other band on my list would be, like, if we're talking top 3, would probably be Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah. So it's like those are three groups that have stayed pretty, like, I know Tom Petty had a drummer in and out for a while, but pretty tight knit guys that have made great careers. So I don't know. Does there have to be one show? Does there have to be a special? Does there have to be? I think they probably want there to be one big last hurrah that they can sell some vinyls and put some stuff on some streaming sites or something. And that's something that we don't talk a lot about on the show either. That none of the streaming services have really jumped on board with the live concert stream, and I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if you do you know anything about that. You're on the inside of the do you know why there hasn't been, like, how there's like comedy specials and there's like plays and improv specials and stuff. There just doesn't seem to be any funding going into like Aerosmith at MSG for their hurrah. I wonder why that is. I wonder why there hasn't been more of a push in that direction on streaming services.
I'm not sure. Maybe because the live concert industry is such a it's an in-house experience, right? When you go to a concert, I enjoy watching concert films too, but I think more than anything, a concert is the type of thing that really needs to be experienced when you're there. And I think even through the pandemic, a lot of bands have done live streams, but none of them have really taken off. It didn't really take root that this is going to be the future of live music. Everybody was basically holding out that this is just a stopgap until we can get back to the real thing. And I think that's what really matters in live music, is that you're there, you're seeing it live, you're getting pissed on, and that kind of thing, right? You can't replace that experience. So that's what I would say. So I don't know. That's not necessarily an insider, insight, but I would just think that you can't replace the real concert experience.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, man. That being said, if the border were to open up tomorrow and Aerosmith said, okay, we're going to do 3 months of residencies in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then that's it. We're doing it in Vegas and then we're ending it. Yeah. I might trek down to see a show. Like, just, I hate regretting, like, I have seen Aerosmith, but I hate like wanting to see a band more and then it's too late. Like I made that mistake with Tom Petty. I had so many opportunities and I love Tom Petty so much, and I just pushed it off and now I can't. So it's one of those things. So I think I would love to see those guys do it, but it would have to be the full band. Everyone would have to be there. I kind of have the same vibe as Kiss, because the last time I saw Kiss, it was full original lineup. So I refuse to go back. I don't want to, I'm like, I got it. I got the Ace Frehley. I got the Peter Criss. I don't need any more. Right. I don't need any more Kiss, but yeah, hopefully they figure something out and it's maybe release something. Maybe I won't go see it, but maybe I'll watch it on a streaming service.
Yeah. I've said it before that bands just don't break up like they used to. Especially nowadays. You can't break up a band if it's a recognizable brand name. It's a recognizable name that everybody knows. You can't break up a band anymore. The way the music industry works, everybody is just trying to get a slice of the pie. Everybody's trying to make as much money as they can from a very, very small pool of cash. And so, I remember in the 90s, you think about Chris Cornell, you think about all these different singers that went solo, all these different bands that broke up. That was during a time when they were making more money. And then you get into the period of the 2000s into the 2010s where you can't give up on a recognizable brand, and you have to wring that out as much as possible, especially nowadays. So we'll see if Aerosmith will continue or if they'll call it a day. Either way, again, I got to see them live just like you, and I have that memory for the rest of my life. I'll hold it very dear, very sacred.